So now that we have an idea about Yang Ming as a conveyor belt, as something that brings this pure light and energy and food and drink into us. And remember, this is a lot of abundance, a lot of abundant energy. Now that we have an idea of how Yang Ming functions, we can understand the pathology. Because if you have abundance of energy, what can be the problem that the confirmation can have? Can it be a deficiency problem? Not so, right? You receive a lot of energy from above. The only pathology you have is a pathology of excess. And too much is coming in, the body can't cope with it. So the main pathology of Yang Ming is stuckness. There's too much coming in and it becomes stuck. Now, this stuckness can happen in a few stations along the way down. Remember, the Yang is coming down into us. It can happen in the chest area, the upper jiao. It can happen in the middle, in the stomach area. And it can happen in the lower jiao, right, in the intestines. So in each station, we have herbs that treat this kind of stuckness. For example, if you have stuckness in the lungs, and the lungs start to heat up due to a Yang Ming pathology, any idea what herb can clear heat from the upper jiao due to Yang Ming pathology? Feel free to unmute. I would like to hear you a bit.
Is it Tianhuafen?
Tianhuafen, this is a good choice. Yes, Tianhuafen is a good herb to clear Yang Ming heat in the upper jiao. Any other herb?
Gualo.
Gualo? Well, that's a bit cheating because it's actually part of Tianhuafen.
True. Good point.
That's okay. It's a good guess. Any other idea? It's a white mineral.
Shigao.
Shigao. Very good. So shigao is the main, actually one of the main herbs to clear heat in the lungs due to a Yang Ming pathology. And if we have a blockage in the stomach, what herb can clear us a blockage in the stomach? Anybody else? If you have heat in the stomach and you eat something bitter to open up the stomach. I see there are 19 people here, so. Okay. Anybody? Okay, I'm not, yeah, now I see that you opened up the chat, so I see Huang Liang, very, very true. Okay. So Huang Liang is a herb that opens up the middle. And lastly, what herb opens up the Yang Ming large intestine? I guess I have to open up. People are too shy to talk.
Yep, Da Huang.
Da Huang, right. So as I said, Yang Ming pathology is a pathology of excess. And we know it even if we just read the Qigong, the outline of the Yang Ming chapter. It says there, in diseases of Yang Ming, the stomach domain is replete. And the word it uses is Wei Jia. Now, Wei means stomach, and Jia means family or home. So the word it means here is Wei Jia means it's not just the stomach is replete, the domain, the stomach family is replete. And we learn from the Ling Shu that actually the small intestine and the large intestine are considered, or they pertain to the stomach. So this line is actually discussing the whole Yang Ming tube. And it says, Yang Ming pathology is only a pathology that is a pathology of repletion. Now, I guess there are some acupuncturists in this group, right? And as an acupuncturist, you might know that sometimes the Yang Ming channel can actually be cold and deficient. So I want to make this distinction between Yang Ming confirmation and a Yang Ming channel. So two different issues. When we discuss Yang Ming confirmation, we're always discussing, in a pathology state, it's always an excess. And when we discuss a Yang Ming channel, it can be deficient. So here we're talking about a Yang Ming confirmation, this downward motion of allowing Yang to come into us. And Liu Hong, in his book Classical Chinese Medicine, he goes on to show us how this pathology manifests. Okay, so we have this stuck Yang, not being able to move. And this stuckness, like a pressure cooker, creates heat. So the main characteristics of a Yang pathology is heat. The person will suffer, he'll feel hot, miserable hot. And because of that, he'll be thirsty because he'll start feeling that he's drying up and he needs to cool down. And he will not just be thirsty for any kinds of drinks, he would prefer cold drinks. So when you have a patient, it's important to ask them not only if he's thirsty, but is he thirsty for cold drinks? And these patients will like iced water or iced drinks. This heat will slowly cook the intestines and dry them up. So the whole abdomen will become hard and full. And this hardness is from this dryness inside of the feces is dry. And it's so hard that when you press in, it will cause pain. And another point to understand is because of this heat, the body will try to cool down by trying to release this heat out using sweat. So there'll be heavy perspiration. Actually, in the clinic, those patients may not be very heavily perspiring, but you'll see that the skin is moist. And another point to notice that this heat can also cause the few fluids that are still in there to go up and affect the heart. So we can see this damp heat affecting the heart, and this will manifest all kinds of psychological states such as delusions and unconsciousness or delirious speech. And I don't know if you know those cases where the patient walks naked and runs up the hill singing. These are all Yang Ming pathologies where there's too much heat causing the patient to be delirious. So these are the main manifestations of a Yang Ming pathology. And Dr. Huang